What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new 2024 Chevy Trax. Now, the trim level we're going to be looking at on this super windy day is the 2024 Chevy Trax RS. So you're going to get some nice RS accents here that are specific to the trim level, but you're not going to get any performance improvements, unfortunately, like you normally would with an RS model. And basically everything on the 2024 Trax is entirely new. So I'm just going to talk about it like it's a new vehicle, even though we have had a Trax in the past, but it really doesn't resemble this version of the Trax in any way. This is basically just like a baby Trailblazer, baby Equinox, baby Blazer, things like that. As far as the design language goes, it really doesn't resemble the previous Trax at all. But let's go ahead and start up front. So like I said, this is entirely new, so I can't use language like redesigned front grille, because technically speaking, yes, it is a redesigned front grille, but it really is just an all-new front grille. It's all new for the Trax lineup, but it is very in line and similar with other front grilles that we have on vehicles like the Equinox, and even something like the Trailblazer or something reminiscent to the Bolt or the Camaro. So you've got a big black Chevy bow tie right in the middle, a nice gloss black grille here, some really low profile LED daytime running lights, and then you have your LED cluster down here that has your main beams and your high beams. And this split design is what we see across the board on Chevy's SUV lineup. You've got RS badging right here on the side, nice little accent, body colored splitter, then you have some active air intakes down at the bottom. Now under the hood, every single Trax is going to have the same 1.2 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder, which has 137 horsepower, 162 pound-feet of torque, 32 miles per gallon highway, 28 miles per gallon city. This is down from the previous generation, which had 155 horsepower. So in something that's already underpowered, to drop it by 18 horsepower, not the best. Once we get it out in the test drive, we'll take a look at how it actually performs in real world driving. The RS Trax here sits on these 19-inch black painted aluminum wheels. They're a two-tone wheel with a nice clean spoke design, pretty open and modern. They look nice. Moving on back, you have these black painted mirror caps. These are manual folding mirrors, but they are power adjustable and they are heated, and they have blind spot monitoring built in. You've got some black roof rails up top, a single pane sunroof, keyless access here on the door panels, a little bit of cladding that runs across the bottom, and you have some really nice body lines here on the updated design of the Trax. So you have this one that kind of swoops down and intersects with the one that runs across the top of the door panel here, and you have some nice leading lines on the hood as well. It's a really nice redesign. I'm actually a big fan of it. I thought the previous Trax suffered from what the previous generation Bolt suffered from, which is just this kind of dorky element to it. It was super squatty. It was just outdated. I think it is dorky and outdated were the best ways to put it. And I felt the same about the previous generation Bolt. Here on this updated 2024 Trax, you've got this elongated wheelbase. You're a little bit more squatty, a little bit wider, a little bit more aggressive stance, all those kind of positive improvements that you want to see. Now, again, we are talking about a basically top of the line vehicle around the 26K mark. So this isn't premium necessarily, but you do get a lot of really nice features, even available on as low as an LT. And we'll talk about that more in a bit. But I'm a big fan of what they did with the redesign here. I think it's eye-catching, and I've actually seen a lot of them out on the road already, which is a good sign for Chevy. All right, moving to the tailgate here of the all-new 2024 Trax, you'll notice there's a much more aggressive design than we had in previous generations. Again, it's very in line with everything else Chevy's doing, especially the Blazer. It reminds me a lot, actually, of the Blazer EV that I took a look at. If you guys are interested in the 2024 Blazer EV that just came out, I made a full walk-around video over on my tech channel, Mets Tech. I'll have a link in the description if you want to check that out. But this has a very similar design with this protruded back end sculpting here. It's very aggressive, very compact, a little bit of a spoiler, nice tinted rear glass with a wiper, black Chevy bow tie, powder black Chevy Trax badging, and then your red RS badging here. You have a rear camera up underneath and some really nice sculpted tail lights here. A little bit of cladding, a little bit of an intricate design, and then just your bottom fascia there, and you can't actually see the exhaust, so it's hidden up underneath. One interesting omission is you actually don't have a power liftgate, at least not here on this RS. You do have a button for it right here, but you don't have it. You got a cargo cover here. You've got my camera box right here, and I'll slide it out of the way so you can see you have a crazy amount of cargo space back here. Up underneath, you do have a spare tire. You've got some little areas to store things on the sides. Again, like I said, a cargo shade, tons of storage space back here. Even with the rear seats up plenty, you fold those bad boys down, you get quite a bit more. Absolutely incredible carrying capability here on such a small vehicle like this Trax. But again, not a whole lot going on here in the back end, but we can close her up and hop inside. All right, so hopping inside this cabin, thankfully I'm out of the wind. That was brutal. But this cabin is really minimal, but really clean and really modern and very driver-centric. And we're gonna talk about all of it here. The biggest place that you're gonna notice the price point, which is about $25,000 for this specific Trax, is in the cabin materials. And that's pretty common across the board. We just took a look at a 2024 Hyundai Kona, same deal. Actually, this cabin and the Hyundai Kona cabin that I took a look at look very similar. I'll put a little side-by-side on screen so you can see, but a lot of nice design similarities here. But over on the door panels, even on the front doors where typically you would see the higher quality of the materials, and then on the rear doors you'd see it kind of step down, you have just hard black plastic on the doors here. You have a little bit of a leather accent with some red accent stitching, but then more hard black plastic under that. You do have a little bit of a textured plastic that runs across the front of the dash here, and then you've got your very kind of Blazer Camaro inspired vents here that have these little things you can slide back and forth, and they have kind of these red accents around them, some red accent trim that runs across. But yeah, just a lot of black plastic in this cabin. Steering wheel is a heated leather wrapped steering wheel. It's the flat bottom style steering wheel, so kind of more of a sporty deal with some piano black plastic on the physical steering wheel, which makes no sense, but it's here. Little black Chevy bow tie there, adaptive cruise control on the side here, media controls here, light controls on the left side, brights, wipers, all that kind of stuff. Nothing crazy there. Rear view mirror, terrible, really cheap. I don't have anything good to say about that. Push the start button here, go ahead and turn that on. Now what I do like are these two displays right here past the steering wheel. So on the left side, you have an 8-inch driver information display, and over here you've got an 11-inch infotainment display. And these are the most updated designs, top of the line graphics packages that Chevy's running with. Very similar to what we have on like the Silverado, Blazer EV, all the new Chevys have this same style, Tahoe, Suburban, things like that. So you can see all of like your fuel level, your speed, your engine temp, miles, what gear you're in, safety systems, your like adaptive cruise systems, set your gap adjust, all that kind of stuff. Over here on the infotainment system, you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, on-screen climate control, Wi-Fi hotspot. You've got your camera menu, music, Bluetooth. Past that, you do have two vents, and then you have your climate control system underneath. This is just a single zone climate control system. You have a USB-C port, USB-A port, 12-volt outlet, Qi-enabled wireless charging pad down there, which is nice to have, especially paired with your wireless CarPlay. Then you have your auto start stop engine button, your lane keep button, and then you have this plastic shift knob here with your 6-speed automatic transmission. You do have a manual mode, little RS badging, little red accent stitching, a little bit of some chrome around the trim, 2 cup holders, as well as what looks like a slot that could hold a phone, electronic parking brake, another little pocket here, and then a decent sized pocket here on the center console, but no additional charging ports. Glove box over there, and then over on the dash, you just have this piano black plastic that runs across the dash, some more of that red accent trim, and then a little bit of a red accent with some RS badging and a little checkered flag there. Now, as far as these seating surfaces go, these are Chevy's EcoTex seating surface. It's like a synthetic leather material. It feels really nice. These are actually pretty comfortable seats for this price point, but you have a lot of intricate designs on here. You have your red RS badging on the headrest. You have some red accent stitching. You've got perforations down the center. You've got some piping. You've got a little bit of a red accent stripe down the center. The driver is a 6-way manually adjustable seat, and the passenger seat is also manually adjustable. I don't know, probably just like 1 or 2 ways. No power seat option on this specific model, unfortunately, but again, that's one of those price point cost saving measures. If you do go up to the active trim, which is just slightly more expensive than this RS trim, you'll get an 8-way power driver seat, but driver and passenger are both heated. Up top, you do have your sunroof controls for your single pane sunroof, dome lights, OnStar controls, black liner up top that matches really nicely with the all black RS theme. Here in 2024, every Trax comes standard with the Chevy Safety Assist Driver Assistance Suite, and that is going to give you standard automated emergency braking with pedestrian detection, standard lane departure warning, and lane keep assist, and available adaptive cruise control. All right, so hopping into the back seat of the Trax here, far and away the best new feature back here is the additional 3 inches of rear legroom. They did this by extending out the wheelbase, making it wider and squattier. You can definitely feel it because this is a super spacious back seat. I had my seat where I normally have it at 6'1", and check out that legroom, plenty. I can tuck my legs up underneath, I can stretch them out. Really, you don't have any limitations back here as far as the legroom goes. Headroom, it's okay. It could be better. You do have a little bit of a raised element here on the roof so that you can get a little bit of extra headroom. The shoulder room, I think, is where it's kind of lacking. I'm immediately hitting my elbow on the door panel here, and then, you know, my elbow is like halfway over into the middle seat here. And you don't have any center fold down here. You do have a middle seat here, but again, it's very, very small. So 3 kids back here is probably fine. 2 adults you could definitely do, but it's not going to be super roomy. So just something to keep in mind. This is a compact SUV, it's a small SUV. You have to expect that. As far as the seating surfaces go, they're still super comfortable back here, but the materials on the door panels get even worse than they are up front. It's just black plastic all the way down. It's just basically like one stamp molded piece of plastic right here. You do have one USB-C charging port, one USB-A charging port, a little pocket here, and then you do have a mat pocket in the back of this seat, and some speakers down here. Handles up top, lights back here. That's about it. It's pretty minimal. All right, let's take the Trax here for a little test drive, and I do mean little. Get it out on the main road here, do a little acceleration test. Hopefully it doesn't die on me. But in the few short hours that I have been messing around with the Trax, a couple things stand out to me. Mainly the seats are super comfortable for the price point. I'm impressed by that, especially the fact that you can get 8-way power adjustable seats up on the active trim. That's super nice at this price point for sure. Things I wish it had: power tailgate, maybe a little bit beefier of an engine, maybe an electric version. That's just me though. I do like the infotainment display, although for some reason, and maybe all of them are like this, but I only see like 4 apps on here. Normally there's like radio and all that as an app, and all I see is it over on the sidebar. So maybe that's just a new design that Chevy's going with. I also like that you do have a digital display here, although it is pretty minimal. It's not bad, but let's go ahead and use our adaptive cruise here. Set our gap adjust. See how well it does keeping me in the lane. Not a super good job, so don't get it for that reason. But it's a super smooth ride. It's pretty responsive too. That's something I've noticed for sure. It handles really well. That longer, lower wheelbase is helpful for that. It rides very low. It almost rides like a car and less like an SUV, which I feel the same way about my Bolt, so I'm pretty used to that. It has a similar ride height to that, in my view. But usability is great. Infotainment is very driver-centric. As you can see, it's angled towards the driver. Nice and easy climate control. Push to start button's in a terrible spot, but you all know how I feel about that. Nice connectivity options too with the wireless charging. But yeah, it's very responsive and smooth. Very impressive ride quality at the $25,000 price point. As far as visibility goes, you don't have any pocket windows, so plenty of visibility there. Nice big front windshield as well, so no issues with visibility there. Do have a tiny little rear view mirror. Don't love that. Wish that was a little bit larger. And the back window is not massive either. Again, it's a pretty small SUV. That's pretty quick. That's impressive. A little 1.2 liter inline 3. It is turbocharged, but I mean, dropping that 18 horsepower from previous generations doesn't make that much of a difference, at least not in the pure acceleration test, just due to the torque still being there. But that's perfect highway driving, easy passing, that kind of stuff. And obviously for back road cruising, no issues there. But yeah, I think overall, my biggest takeaways from my several hours of using it are they definitely cheaped out on the materials on the door panels. That's what you're going to expect at $25,000. But you have some really nice added stuff for that price point. The standard safety systems, the available adaptive cruise, the 8-inch driver information, the 11-inch infotainment cluster that is available here on the higher trim levels, the super comfortable seats, the heated steering wheel, wireless CarPlay, wireless charging pad, and you get some really nice RS accents as well throughout the cabin here. So overall, I think the other vehicles you'd be looking at around this price point are like the Kona or the Mazda CX-30 or something along those lines, and the feature set here on the Trax is minimum on par, but even better in some certain ways, and it just really depends on what you like. You know, if you like the styling of the Chevy, you're gonna go with that. If you like the styling of the 2024 Kona that I just made a video on here recently, you could check that out in the card above. You may go with that. It's really just a preference thing on the styling and the brand loyalty and things like that. I'm very impressed with the overall quality and the overall ride and the look of the updated 2024 Trax. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Drop a like on the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about the updated 2024 Chevy Trax? You like the RS, you like the infotainment, you like the redesign? Let's have a conversation down in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be one of the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.